Do the zoo, do the blank park zoo. Iowa's wildest adventure when you do the zoo. Big or small, tiny or tall, all shapes and sizes, you'll see it all when you do the zoo. Family fun for everyone. Do the zoo, do the blank park zoo. Iowa's wildest adventure when you do the zoo.
Chuck Isles, who was mayor at the time, said he'd like to have a meeting with my father. Could I set it up? I said, sure, what do you want to talk about? He says, well, you know, all that land out there owned by the government, Fort Des Moines, and they said they're willing to turn it over to the city, and out of that, it's decided that the zoo should be built here as well as the golf course over here.
One of the things that was needed in Des Moines, a town of this size, without a zoo, the children love animals. I think it's educational as well as entertaining. And I hope that you children are going to enjoy it as much as I do.
Great. That's wonderful, Mr. Blank.
My first memories is hearing Bill Riley on Channel 8, back to promotions, getting people to the zoo, just to know there's one here. And Bill was, of course, the spokesperson for the zoo.
The first memories were probably when Dad started raising money on television. A.H. Blank offered $150,000 to kick things off.
Bill Riley raised half of the total matching money that A.H. Blank gave the rest to construct the zoo in the first place.
Here it is, here's our zoo. What do you think of this?
This is great. Can I slide down the slide?
Well, let's wait a minute. Come on up here. Yeah, this is the way it's going to be. Everybody's going to want to slide down the slide in the beautiful castle. And we'll do that, and you'll have a chance. And here are all the animals and everything, Billy, and it's just going to be delightful for everyone.
Dad and Bob Elgin did a noon show at KRNT Television where Bob would bring in animals. He and Bob Elgin just clicked. I mean, they had a wonderful respect for each other. Dad quickly realized that Bob was great on TV, and he showed up with all sorts of interesting things.
Well, my first memory was Bob Elgin as a snake handler.
Bob Elgin would have an animal on his arm or a monkey here. He did everything he could with a tiger. In fact, one story was he had tigers roaming around the outside to keep people out. I mean, things that you couldn't do today with the AZA.
The original zoo was just to be for children. It wasn't to be a big animal zoo. It was just small animals that children could play with and pet and so forth.
The zoo struggled with having to transform from a little children's entertainment space to a full-blown AAZPA accredited institution.
So when we formed the foundation, they closed the zoo. Now closing the zoo for that period of time, that was a shock, okay? The attendance was not that much, but still, people have to trust you that you're gonna build it and it's gonna be better and they will come.
I had been to the zoo once before it closed, and it was shortly before it closed. And then when the zoo reopened and it was spectacular in comparison. It was a very good experience.
I was hired at the zoo in 1989. It was much smaller. The staff was much smaller. We only had probably about 15 full-time people. Really didn't have a whole lot of new exhibits until 2000.
When I got involved, there was strategic planning going on, and I was involved with that to make it a year-round facility. And to make it year-round, we needed a facility like this. We needed a place that people could come in during the winter months and still interact with the animals.
The Discovery Center was our first venture, making it year-round. And I tell you, it was a challenge because we've never had one before. So what do? Not only does it create construction challenges, but then all of a sudden, how do you staff it? How do you operate it? How do you even go out and promote it? Because it had never existed before. but it became a jewel with the multi-use of the various rooms and the interior exhibits and the ability to change those exhibits. It was key. It was very important for us to show how the zoo could be versatile and change with the times.
But right now there's more fun to be had out at the Blank Park Zoo in the new Discovery Center. Steve and Cynthia, this thing looks pretty neat.
It is. It's very cool.
It's just what the zoo needed too, because a lot of the kids have come here every year and have gotten used to it, and now there's something really to get excited about.
A nice year-round facility.
I came to the zoo and we were hearing that the zoo was going to close down. The city was losing money, about $600,000 a year. And so a group of volunteers from the board decided, let's take it over and make it a nonprofit. The big thing was getting people through the gate, because knowing that people only usually come to a cultural attraction 3 times in their lifetime, when you're a kid, when you take your kid, when you take your grandkid, we wanted to find ways to bring them back every year, and now 2 or 3 times a year.
I always thought no matter what business you're in, you have to have something new to get people to keep coming back. And in researching other zoos, you build an exhibit and your attendance peaks. Your attendance here, and it peaks here and then it goes down, but it always stays above where it was before. We were in construction doing something the whole 11 years that I was CEO. It was one exhibit after another. And of course, you know, as we grew, our educational group grew, and you know, we take animals and go out to schools and do 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and we expanded that because we had more people coming in and more school groups coming in, so we had more recognition out about the state of Iowa. And then that's when we started expanding our conservation efforts.
The zoo started getting involved with conservation in the late 90s with our little conservation committee. And then the zoo did a complete revamp. A percentage of the profits from all sources at the zoo go to conservation every year, which is amazing. Amazing. I mean, it's amazing. And we were a forerunner in the conservation world in doing that.
We have, you know, relationship partnerships with, you know, the Giraffe Foundation, the rhinos. I could go down the snow leopards, where we've contributed to supporting them in the wild since I came on board in 2009, and Ann and the crew are still supporting those organizations. And that's one of the real things that zoos should be doing, identifying animals that are in trouble, having them to be on view so people can be engaged with them and then help you save the ones in the wild. And I think that's been an important part of the zoo before me, and is still very important to the zoo now.
The zoos are some of the most popular cultural attractions in any state. This zoo needed to upgrade, needed to build, and each step of the way so far has really brought in a lot more people and a lot more smiles, a lot more education, and ways to learn about our whole environment and ways to protect the endangered species.
It's a multi-generational facility. It brings all families together of all ages.
This zoo is more than just a zoo for children or a zoo for Des Moines. This is a zoo for all of Iowa. And that's why I think we are positioned where we're at to continue that growth.
The Blank Park Zoo has an average economic impact of $42 million per year for Polk County. We are proud to welcome visitors from all 99 counties and surrounding states each year to the zoo. As the only accredited zoo in the state of Iowa, we provide the gold standard of care and welfare for all of our animals here. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of our community for the past 60 years, and we look forward to the next 60 years.